Hi everyone, great to have you tuning in to this series of the Industry Talk. And in this episode, we have Ming Hui here with us. So to introduce, Ming Hui is a customer experience and operation lead at Moovaz. His greatest goal in life is finding synergy among all the startups and businesses. So Ming Hui, perhaps you want to start off by sharing more about yourself and how you actually got started with Moovaz.
I've been working in the business world for about 12, 13 years, right? I graduated from NAV Business School from marketing, right? After that, I went on to 3 years of career in consulting, research and consulting, and then I spent 7 years doing my own businesses. So I ran probably about 2 or 3 businesses in 7 years, right? So I kind of am a business entrepreneur myself as well. So 2 years ago, exactly about 2 years ago, I started to hear about Moovaz, right? Anyway, the founders are all my schoolmates as well. We were all schoolmates back in the US, right? So I knew about what they were doing. And then, it's basically we're in the logistic tech industry. And the whole idea about what we're trying to do here is very, very, I would say it's very relevant to what people need, right? And at that point, I still remembered, I think within 2 months or 3 months, I settled all my business, I sold it off, I did all the handover, and then within 2 months, I joined Moovaz. Right. Yeah. So far I spent about 2 years in Moovaz, right? And yeah, essentially I guess just a quick introduction for our company. So we are dealing with international relocation, right? It's helping people to relocate around the world. Normally we're talking about people who are expatriates, people who move, say for work purposes, like a company, say IBM, a senior director moves from India to Singapore, or Hong Kong to UK and stuff like that. We help them to manage their logistics in terms of moving. With them, with all the paperwork, we help them to relocate their lives essentially. Yeah. So we as a tech company, the idea is that we want to bring technology to this very old traditional industry, right, which has been existing for a long, long time, but I guess doesn't really have anyone that's really coming in to kind of modernize it, and that's where we come from.
So just now previously you mentioned that after your research consulting work, you actually went on to start business of your own. You must have had the courage to want to I will quit this job and start something fresh. What was your motivation back then?
I guess, I think the nice way people like to see it is that, wow, you had a dream of an idea and stuff like that. I wanted to conquer the world, kind of things. But I think for me, I would say a lot of things is the timing and opportunity. After first 3 years of my first job, I was probably about late 20s, right? So it's really, I call it number one, I have, I guess, a bit of savings, which means I don't have capital. Number two, I have gathered some knowledge about what I'm doing. So the business I went into was also related to what I was working in terms of research, consulting and stuff like that. And then at the same time, I just thought that, okay, if I would want to do anything, probably this would be the timing. I was single, I had nothing to commit to, no family, no kids. So it's the right time to try. And I guess being a business school student, I've always had the kind of inkling that probably can do business. Let's just give it a try. Yeah. So I think that was really the reason. To be honest, I think a lot of people who go into starting business, the nice way to put it, they've got a lot of nice stories behind it. That sounds very noble. But for me, I'm, you can see, for me, I'm a very operational person. That's why I'm very more on the ground, more realistic. A lot of the reasons are very practical. But having said that, it's not that there are no dreams, okay? But, it's a lot more grounded, I would say, the reason for why I want to do my own business. Yeah.
After you actually quit your research consulting work and move on to start your own business, what were main challenges that you actually faced? I mean, initially, people will be telling you oh, you can actually do this, do that. Then afterwards, suddenly you are like, oh, I have to do everything myself right now.
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Have you ever had that point in time whereby you were like, oh, maybe I should have quit my job? Oops.
Well, I think everyone would probably have that thinking at some point. Especially when the going is very, very tough. But but at some point, it's not something that you always harp on. I think if you're always harping on that, then I think you're seriously in the wrong place, to be honest. Because I think at some point I would have the thinking, say, okay, actually, this is so hard. Why don't I just quit and I find something better. I don't miss my old job. I think of what else I could do with other people. Looking forward lah. I think if you're after 3, 4, 5 years of doing your own business, you're still looking back to your old. It's like you break up with someone, you're still thinking about the person. Then something is very bad. Something is very wrong, right? You should be thinking about the next future person, the next person I want to meet better, and something like that lah. I think I can sum it into one line, which is quite simple. You go from being a specialist to a generalist. Yeah, means when you join a big company, a corporate, maybe you are a salesperson, a BD, where you just do BD every day, right? Or if you're an ops person, you just handle ops every day. But once you start your own business, right, you're everything. Right? You need to sell. You need to make sure the operations can work. You need to handle finance, invoicing. You need to clean the toilet. You need to throw the rubbish. You need to fix the Wi-Fi, phone lines, every damn thing in the world. You need to settle. Yeah, so I would say that is the main difference. And to me, one of the key traits, we'll probably talk about this later, but to me, being very resourceful helped me a lot. Because if you're someone who's very direct and very strict, cannot think out of the box or cannot detour and all that, right, you'll suffer quite a lot. Yeah, if you're trying to do your own business. At least at the start. Yeah.
So when you were starting your own business, you were kind of alone. But afterwards, when you move on to Moovaz, there was a team with you. So at the initial phase of Moovaz, what were the challenges faced by your team, and how do you go about doing it?
Yeah, well, I mean, even in my own business, I still had a small team lah. Not that I have nobody. But then even come to Moovaz, yes, the team is slightly bigger. But you see, it's like that. Startups are never well stocked up in terms of human resource or even any resource for that matter, because we just need to be very, very lean, right? So I would say maybe when I own business, a smaller team solving smaller problems, dealing with smaller, scale. We move us with bigger problems, with probably just slightly more teammates only. So it's about the same. There's no way you can say that you're going to a startup environment, especially in the first 2 or 3 years, that your company is not stocked up. There's no way. So there's not much difference. I still find myself, doing a lot of things yourself. I still clean the rubbish. I still fix the Wi-Fi and the office printer. Nothing has changed in that sense, lah. Yeah. And the teammates, yes, you have a few more people. I think what's different is that Moovaz, the starting founding team, they have obviously a few good brains around, right? And that's sometimes what you need. If you're in your own operations, maybe you are your own limitation. You are as good as the company is as good as you are. Let's say if I'm the best person in the company, right? But if I join another company, especially Moovaz, that time there are other good brains around, then you can bounce off ideas. I think that's the main difference for me lah. In my own business, because the team is not very, very big, and I obviously cannot afford big talents, right? So sometimes basically the limit is me in a sense. Moovaz with other people that will help us to how we can do bigger things.
So I understand that Moovaz is actually quite a big idea, and there's quite a lot of work have to be done.
Yes.
At the initial phase, with sort of nothing to hang on to or nothing to leverage on, what were some of the ways you're actually really push yourself to start off with?
Okay, I think I have another one-liner for this. Is they say don't think, just do. Don't think too much, just do. Why I say that is because, like you said, our idea is huge, right? It's very, very, very difficult, and it's something that none of us know how to do. Actually, granted, one of our founders has been in this industry for the past 8 years before she started with us. Right? So we have some ideas, some context and all that. So obviously there's a foundation to start off with, yes. However, the whole thing about the whole process flow, the systems, the automation, right? How we do create a different customer experience and all that, that's all from scratch, right? Because if you just copy what other people are doing, it's okay, but we still need to put some of our own twist into it, right? But having said that, right, I mean, for any people who are doing startups, and they're trying to, in our first year or so, and they're thinking, we're trying to solve a big problem, but we are nowhere there. Basically, the advice is don't care about the big problem. You solve the small problem. There's a bigger goal, but what is your core business? Just start doing first. I think I remember in our first 3 to 6 months, one of our founder who leads the sales commercial side. He doesn't even know how to actually properly assess like some clients' goods or items that they want to. Everything. He just go head on, nod his head, act like he know everything, take all the information back and quickly call everybody you can find and then get the proper quotation and whatever. And then, obviously use our own. Obviously, we all have working experience. I think that's a good point. So use that working experience to handle clients better. Right? So that's our own little twist to it. But we just whack. Just whack. Just start getting numbers in, start getting traction. Whether is it user base or whether is it sales numbers. Once you start seeing it grow, right, then at least there's something going on. Otherwise, you will actually never ever get it off the ground.
Along the years, how have you seen the changing trends in this logistic tech industry in the region?
Actually, LogTech, I would say, is one of the, to all the people out there who want to do startups, I would say, give LogTech a try. Go and research more about LogTech, because honestly, logistics is obviously it's growing crazy, right? Because of all the online e-commerce and everything is online now. Even technically, even for GrabFood, Deliveroo, all these, they are technically logistics also, right? Handling people, trucks, transportation vehicles, everything. Right. What I can only say is that logistics, the reason why not a lot of people want to really do it is because it's not glamorous, right? It's not sexy, right? Containers that some rusty old metal container, the warehouse dirty, like ulu pandan, not like CBD, right? As compared to fintech and all that, more sexy, or social media tech or whatever, right? But the problem is, the more unglam it is, the more barrier to entry there are, and opportunities are there, just that people cannot see. I mean, Amazon is a logistics company, right? LogTech. Look at how freaking big they are, right? Just because they are dealing with something that's unglamorous, people don't want to bother looking at, right? So people, it's like the consumer mindset, right? They don't want to bother about logistics. That's why they can care less about what you do behind, as long as it works for me, correct? So, as compared to, say, if you're talking about social tech, Instagram and all that, you need to spend so much on how it looks like to the consumers, right? Unless you have very good sense of all these things, you have a very good team of designers and all that, otherwise it's very hard to fight. And also, the last point is that I guess logistics itself is very traditional, very old school. We're still talking about uncles drive the trucks. Talking about people who are not super sophisticated in terms of the systems they're using, right? So it's difficult, of course, because you need to train all those people. You need to train people to use systems, but the opportunities there are a lot bigger. So LogTech lah. I'm a very big advocate of LogTech because I can see the potential there.
In future, there's this self-driving vehicles whereby they actually kind of prove to improve safety. Will self-driving vehicles actually help to improve the safety and become a reality in this logistic industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in US, right, Tesla, they're all already trialing, driverless truckers, right, who goes from state to state and all that. They are a very big deal, right? The human labor cost of trucking is very, very expensive. And that is already considered the cheaper option, right? If you compare to, say, air shipment, right? Land trucking is already a lot more cheaper. But even then, the human labor cost is very high, and they still need to sleep. Right? A driverless vehicle can just keep going all the way. Imagine from New York to California in half the time, right? That means half the cost. Right? So anyway, I guess the point is, yes, I think the logistics industry as a whole will improve in hardware, right? This actual physical hardware. It will also improve in softwares. But I think more importantly, it will have to improve in processes, system processes. So I mean, things like you said just now, some people are still using paper and pen to write down their offers, right? Where probably a lot of other industries is already an app, right? It's already a software, it's already a web-based, right? So it is about bringing all these people in the logistics industries in every part of the world. The thing is, even in Singapore, is, let's say, modern. the fact about logistics is it's not one way. You need both sides to click. So if I send something from Singapore to say, I don't know, like North Korea let's say, okay, for the matter.
Okay.
North Korea need to have people with the resources in that using similar technology, right? Otherwise, this whole high-tech system go to destination, they will still say, oh, I want to have paper. Please share me the paper document, mail it to me, for example. Right? So logistics worldwide, there are many different people, service providers in different countries who eventually, hopefully they can adopt more technology. And I think as a whole, when more and more logistic tech companies come out providing solutions, right, for various parts of the supply chain, then yes, I think as a whole, logistics will definitely get better and better. We are already quite powerful already, right, because of how e-commerce has driven the whole logistics scene. Right? But that's just e-commerce. There's so many other things involved in logistics as well.
Yeah, I mean, like in this field, or rather in whatever we do, we always ask like, how can we do better? How can we improve the efficiency? How can we improve the safety?
The amount to improve in logistics industry is a lot bigger than, say, I guess, finance.
Is it because of like all the parameters involved?
Because they're just essentially, okay, I mean, I just put it simply. Let's say today you want to do a product for finance, tech product for finance. What you'll find is that so many things out there already done already. Right?
Yeah.
Because the systems are so quite robust, a lot of people are doing it. But when it comes to logistics, you probably can still find problems out there that's not solved yet by technology or by systems and whatnot. So that gap for improvement probably a lot bigger, the potential. So you have more things to play with. Whereas for, let's say, fintech or social media, for social tech and all that, right? Like today, I tell you want to create the next big Instagram, must have please lah. That potential is so small, right? But you want to play logistics, probably the thing's bigger. Just like other industries like agricultural tech, potential is big also. Medical tech for sure is also huge. Not to say that fintech no good, social tech no good, just that a lot of people are already doing it. Yeah, so the game to play is a lot smaller.
Right. Okay, understand here. Alright, I have the last question here for you. Can you provide 3 tips for startups looking to start something in the logistic tech industry? Your top 3 tips.
Wow. Actually, again, I'm being very practical. I think people in logistics, ideally, one of your founding team has some level of knowledge in whatever you're trying to do in the logistics field. Yeah. Whether is it something that you study about, something that you have working experience in, something that your family is doing, or you yourself have been doing, I think that helps better. Because let's say today, 3 of us come together, none of us have any idea of logistics. Maybe it might be very, very tough. Actually, a lot of companies, tech companies out there, whether is it Ninja Van, whether is it Horio, a lot of them do have a bit of background. Some of them is family business, some of them is they have worked in the industry before. So yeah, I think for me, if you don't mind, you can always work in the logistic industry first, right? Join a logistic company, whatever, do operations, understand. Then you come out and try. That might be easier for you. Otherwise, tech will be quite tough. So that's one. Basically, preferably, if you want to start tech, have someone with experience in logistics. That's one. Number 2, I would say because logistics is very real, very physical. In your business idea, try to keep it to something that you can actually sell and you can get revenue from. Okay. Meaning what I'm trying to say is playing the kind of user-based kind of game, burning money, losing money for user-based logistics may not work very well, especially for investors. Okay, so for example, an example would be like Carousel, right? For a long time, their main goal is to get user base. They don't need to monetize, they don't need to get revenue. If you try to use this same model for logistics tech company, it might be a bit tough for investors to hear. Because for the fact of the matter is, logistics itself, you can actually straight away earn money. Then the investors might ask you, why are you not trying to earn money? Right? Because the investment climate now, I think we all are quite familiar, quite can sense that investment climate now are a lot more, how do I put it? They're a lot more careful, right? They want to see a business that can actually earn revenue and be self-sustainable at some point in time. So the idea of doing a startup that's just burning money for user base for 3-4 years, I think is very hard to fly now. If I want to do a logistics company today to just do delivery, right? I can actually charge people for delivery because it's a physical service, right? So you need to preferably in your business idea straight away put in that money revenue generating business model already, because otherwise you'll be questioned very badly, like why you want to earn money now? Why keep losing money straight away? So that's number 2. Number 3, number 3 is get ready, be prepared to hire people that's from the industry. I think that's something very unique because as compared to other tech startups I've seen, where they just hire mostly like say engineers, developers, young techie people, right? In the logistics industry, sometimes you have no choice. Actually, it's not say no choice, but you actually need people from the industry, right? So we have in Moovaz, we have people who they used to be from relocation companies, used to be from trucking companies, shipping companies. That has nothing to do with tech, not tech companies at all. But we just need their experience. We need their knowledge to bring in, to tell me to actually firstly operate our work, our business, and secondly to let me learn what is required so that I can start to build our systems and technology behind. So basically be prepared to hire people from the industry. Makes sense. 3 points.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and tips on startups. Right, if any one of you have any other follow-up questions, feel free to send in the follow-up questions to our email address right here, and also we'll connect with Ming Hui on LinkedIn and reach out to him. Thank you, Ming Hui, once again, and we'll see you guys again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.